Okay, so let's jump in. We're always seeing articles about self-improvement, right? But they're almost always so abstract.
Exactly. They tell you what to do, sleep more, eat better, but you rarely get to see the actual messy data of someone trying to make it all stick.
Well, today, that's exactly what we're looking at. Our source is this incredibly structured personal weekly review. It's called TWIR 2026 Week O2 from kianmeng.org.
And it's from someone who calls himself a software plumber. But this isn't just a journal. I mean, it's a data-driven blueprint for self-optimization.
The level of personal accountability is fascinating. He's got these detailed metrics logged across two interlocking systems. We're calling them the health stack and the project stack.
Right.
And our mission for this deep dive is pretty simple. Find the transferable strategies. Find those aha moments in his system. How do these tiny data-driven tweaks lead to big shifts for you?
And what's really foundational here, I think, is the belief system that's driving all this logging. The author trusts that a proactive focus on health, on the health stack, gives him the energy foundation for everything else.
For all the personal and professional goals, the project stack.
Precisely. And by logging everything, he can spot patterns and break through plateaus that, frankly, most people don't even know they're stuck in.
It's a powerful framework. If the foundation is wobbly, the projects fail. So let's get right into it. Section 1, the health stack. Let's start with sleep and recovery.
Okay, so we see a really subtle but positive increase in his sleep duration. It's not a huge leap, but it's a steady move from 6.57 hours to 6.71 hours per day on average.
That upward trend, even if it's small, shows consistency.
It does. But the data also logs this really common, really frustrating challenge. The timing. He just can't seem to shift to an earlier bedtime.
Right. Even when he tried to make himself more tired in the evening with physical work like gardening, his body was tired, but the internal clock was just stuck.
It's that classic battle, isn't it? Volume versus circadian rhythm. But here's the interesting paradox. Despite the timing issue, his quality of sleep got a lot better.
And he tracks that with physical outcomes, not just an app. He notes that his sporadic knee pains and muscle spasms were reducing.
And this leads to his first really specific experimental tweak. He logged the observation that showering twice a day seemed to help with recovery and sleep quality.
He's treating his own body like a lab.
Exactly. It's a small thing, maybe not obvious, but it could be a huge physical lever for him. And he's not just accepting it as fact either. He's going to keep monitoring it while still trying to force that bedtime half an hour earlier.
That small-scale scientific rigor is what really sets this system apart.
It is.
Okay, speaking of physical levers, let's talk about exercise and movement, because this is where we see one of the biggest wins of the week. It's a great example of getting away from volatility.
Yeah, last week his data shows this wildly unstable movement. I mean, huge swings from 11,000 steps down to just 1,000 on some days.
Yeah. That's so stressful, you can't plan around that.
You can't. And this week, the data is remarkably stable. His weekly steps stayed in a much tighter and, more importantly, a higher minimum range, between 4,672 and 7,151 steps.
So the genius here wasn't about finding time for a marathon. It was about raising the floor.
That's it, exactly. He raised the floor of his activity, and he did it by weaving movement into things he had to do anyway, gardening and house chores.
So necessary effort becomes a health input. It just automatically stabilizes your minimum daily movement.
And because his pain is reducing, he's sticking to a very smart conservative recovery plan. It's all about functional strength and leg stability.
His goal is what, twice a week?
Twice a week with 2 rest days in between. It's deliberate. It's focused on resilience, not just vanity metrics.
Okay, so let's shift to diet and fasting. This is where we see the immediate payoff for all that other consistency.
We do. He resumed his 16.8 intermittent fasting schedule, and he notes it was mostly out of habit, probably because of that late sleep schedule.
Hang on a second. He did it out of habit because he was sleeping late, which then squeezed his eating window.
It seems so.
Isn't that a sign that the system is maybe compensating for a bad habit rather than being a conscious, optimized choice? Is that really sustainable?
That's a really sharp observation. It raises that big question about self-tracking, right? When is the data just confirming your flaws, and when is it actually guiding you out of them?
Right.
But in this case, even if the driver was a bit flawed, the framework, well, it proved to be robust.
And the result was a clear success.
Oh, absolutely. The fasting helped him finally break his weight plateau of 68.75 kilograms. He set a new mean of 68.66 and ended the week at 68.05.
That's a new baseline firmly below that 69-kilo mark, all from just being consistent.
And the diet itself was also very targeted. He cut down on high sodium, high sugar foods from outside. And he was really strict about that 2.1.1 diet ratio.
2 parts plants, 1 part protein, 1 part carbs.
He was very specific about it, yeah. Healthy proteins like prawn and fish, sock-boiled eggs, oatmeals, miso noodle soup. And look at his plan for next week. Prioritize deep-sea fish for healthy fats.
To support the functional strength recovery we just talked about.
See? It's all connected. It's a beautiful loop of food as medicine tied directly to his exercise goals.
The health stack is clearly the engine here. Stable movement, better recovery, more energy, better diet adherence. That energy has to go somewhere.
And it does. Which brings us to section 2, the project stack.
This is where we see that enhanced clarity get put to work. Let's start with writing, learning, and coding.
The key thing here is how he manages knowledge. He got back to writing 3 posts per day.
Not long articles, right? Just small, targeted pieces.
Exactly. The main goal was clear a backlog of topics he's been studying. And here is the real high-leverage move for anyone listening. His strategy is this structured learning loop.
Okay, break that down.
First, you write to learn. Second, you review those same ideas through a related podcast. And third, you follow up on specific questions or threads that came up.
That's genius. It completely prevents passive consumption. You can't just read something. You have to immediately turn it into something new.
It forces you to engage, which guarantees you actually master the topic. And it all comes back to that micro-consistency motto. It's all about one small post at a time.
And that same principle applies to his coding contributions.
It does. His focus is minor, but very targeted. He submits occasional pull requests for small typos he finds while browsing open source projects on GitHub.
And he's contributing specifically to Haskell projects, which is a very precise programming language.
Right, related to his own pet projects. And he also fixes these linting issues raised by a tool called Rough.
For anyone who doesn't know, Rough is a tool that keeps Python code incredibly clean. It's not glamorous work, but these small, high-quality contributions build your reputation way faster than one big sporadic project.
Consistency over volume. It's the theme of the whole deep dive. Now let's look at his hobbies, because this is where physical labor and project work really merge. Gardening.
So he spent the week decluttering his garden areas to make room for new workspaces and plant racks. It's decluttering with a purpose-building infrastructure.
While also maintaining the routine of watering, weeding, all the propagation projects. But the most counterintuitive discovery, the real transferable nugget, is about cost.
This is the part I love.
He realized that culinary seeds from the grocery store are, abundant and way more affordable than specialized seeds from vendors.
It's the ultimate life hack. It's optimizing your inputs through, unconventional supply chain thinking.
And he's avoiding the questionable quality and low germination rates he'd seen before just by looking at a resource that was right there in his kitchen.
It makes you ask, for your own system, where are my inputs overpriced? And what non-standard option is right under my nose?
Exactly. And that momentum from the physical work carries over. In home improvement, he logged a ton of progress, fixing a lamp, clearing a drawer, and decluttering the entire staircase, kitchen, and garage.
That's the power of just tackling those small, annoying tasks first. And he's already got his next targets lined up. Installing curtains and doing grout work. Always the next small, defined task.
And finally, there's the patient art of fish keeping. He's priming his apistogramma and zebra cichlids for spawning by increasing their feeding with live foods.
So he's looking for physical cues, like a female fish showing courtship displays and a rounder belly.
Right. It's self-improvement through biological patience. He can't force it. He can only optimize the conditions and then observe. And that patience is a mental trait that feeds right back into his productivity.
Okay, so we have 2 really strong stacks here. Let's move to section 3 and synthesize them, because the real value is how the health and project stacks interconnect.
Yes. Let's start with that immediate feedback loop. The physical project work, the gardening, the chores, the decluttering, they directly supported his health stack metrics.
They raised his minimum step count, and crucially, they gave him the energy expenditure he needed to break that weight plateau.
And that, in turn, fuels the project stack.
Yeah.
The reduced weight, the better recovery, the stable movement, all that provides the energy and mental clarity he needs to write 3 posts a day and submit those technical pull requests.
He isn't sacrificing health for productivity. He's using productivity to strengthen his health.
It's a perfect synergy. And the mental component is woven in there too. He notes that even though his sporadic pain is reducing, He remains as stoic as ever.
Which just underscores the mental discipline holding the whole system together.
And he maintains that mental state by weaving these small, consistent habits into the physical work itself. He does 1 to 2 minute sitting meditations and walking meditations.
But not as separate tasks. He does them while he's racking leaves or decluttering the garage. I think this raises a profound question for all of us. How often do we treat physical labor or chores as just time we need to get through?
Instead of seeing them as structured opportunities for mindful practice or just movement, he sees decluttering the garage as both productivity and health optimization at the same time.
That merging of effort is the secret to efficiency. The motto for clearing his writing backlog was one small post at a time.
Which is the exact same incremental approach he used for weight loss and raising his minimum step count. The strategy of micro-consistency works across every domain.
And the power of one small post at a time isn't just about iteration. It's about how that steady stream cleared a huge backlog. It proves that micro-consistency, when you track it, delivers macro results.
In that learning model, right, to learn, review through a podcast, follow up, it prevents just passively consuming knowledge. You had to prove you can apply it.
So if we connect this all back, this whole weekly review just validates his core belief. The consistent investment in the health stack, the slight increase in sleep, the 2.1.1 diet, the stable movement, that is the foundation.
He's not trying to build a skyscraper on sand. He's using his projects, like gardening, to stabilize the foundation itself.
Ultimately, the data shows the goal of this whole system isn't those huge volatile energy swings from 11K steps down to 1K.
No, the goal is stability at a higher, better baseline. And that stability reduces your cognitive load, it minimizes decision fatigue, and it ensures continuous progress.
So we've established that successful self-optimization really comes down to tracking granular data like keeping your step count stable in that 4,000 to 7,000 range and making small testable changes, like the 2.1.1 diet or testing if showering twice helps recovery.
And the real high leverage move here is finding efficiency by connecting areas that seem totally unrelated. Finding massive cost savings for your garden by looking at culinary seeds. That's pure lateral thinking.
Or using the physical task of decluttering the garage as a weight management strategy. It's integrated living.
It all becomes one self-reinforcing system. It's a true systemic approach to life management.
So we'll leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Think about implementing your own structured learning loop. What if you made a rule where every single piece of knowledge you gained had to be immediately converted into a new piece of content, a blog post, a project note, a pull request? How much more attention and clarity would you achieve? And what unexpected project in your life could you use next week to automatically strengthen your health goals and vice versa?